That's why this is like this. Okay, because there was a break in our history with God. We were in harmony, and then there was a break. Okay, now I know the story. Here's what we know about ourselves. Man is revealed as being made in the image of God. This God who loves us tells us about ourselves, tells us things like, you're made in my image. That is so powerful for what has happened in all of the good that has happened in the world in the last 2,000 years. It's just like, again, it's one of those situations where I said yesterday, the West, you don't even see it because it's so pervasive. You don't even recognize it for what it is. The whole world is Western at this point. And one of the places where you see this is that the Imago Dei has made its impact all over the world, and that's what we call human rights. That's one of the places where you see that. Everybody around the world, more or less. I mean, that's an exaggeration, of course, not everybody, but generally speaking, the culture of the world promotes this idea of rights. Rights absolutely come from this. That conversation, no matter where it's happening in the world, came directly from this. It didn't come from anywhere else. It didn't come from China. Didn't come from Buddhism, didn't come from Islam, didn't come from anything else. It didn't come from secularism. Secularism didn't come up with this concept. Secularism isn't really a culture. It's almost a non-culture or a reaction culture. It came directly from this. The reason the world talks about it, the UN talks about it, is because of this. This thing is what rights are about. Even when people start demanding weird rights, like that they just kind of make up, the reason they have the inkling that they can talk about rights at all, it comes from this. Number two, in light of reason, we understand, or in light of revelation, we understand that man is revealed as being disordered in his inner being as a result of original sin. That's why this is like this. Okay, because there was a break in our history with God. We were in harmony, and then there was a break. Okay, now I know the story. And again, we want the story. That's how we understand the world. Everything we tell ourselves is really a story. Even when we try to make it sound objective and use language that kind of tricks us into not recognizing it for the story that it is. Everything we tell ourselves is a story. And so getting the story on why I'm broken is from a human perspective, equivalent to saying, I get the answer. I get the facts. It's what I need to understand. This disorder manifests itself in a darkening of the mind, a weakening of the will, and undisciplined passions. And again, if you want more information about this, talk to Maximilian. He did his ISP on this sort of thing, on this aspect of human anthropology. All right, then number three, in light of reason, because Christ is the mediator and sum total of revelation, the incarnate word of the Father, he reveals God to man and man to himself with unparalleled clarity and depth. So as Gabby kind of pointed out at the beginning, Christ is the answer kind of all the time. We're always going to go back to Christ because he's that fulcrum point. He's that point on which everything hinges. We're out on one end of the seesaw and God's out on the other. And Christ is the fulcrum. It all kind of balances because of Christ in the middle. And so understanding us, understanding our world, we have no better way than to know the Creator, and Christ is where we do that. Understanding who the Creator is outside of our world, out and the other end of things, like say up in the sky, as we say, up in heaven, wherever we think of God, because God isn't spatial like we are, so we kind of just think of him somewhere that seems to kind of give us the right sense of his otherness. Like, how can I do better than that? Well, I can look to Christ. And then, okay, now I start to really get traction. So Jesus is the answer. He really just, the T-shirt thing. Jesus is the answer, the bumper sticker. It's one of the things about Revelation, and it's super profound, actually. Number four, endowed with intelligence and freedom, the imago Dei makes the human being Lord of all creation. So this is an insight. Again, I talked with you about, the Germanic peoples who lived in a created order that was chaotic and kind of the enemy. Like, you can get killed out there. You hunt the wild boar, and like you just you hope for the best. You hope you don't get overwhelmed by things. The idea is that actually, no, man is the Lord of creation, that he is the steward of the garden, that he's a cultivator, and that and that creation was handed over to him by the Creator to be tended. And so even though it isn't comfortable, and even though it is work, and even though we are sometimes lost at sea or overcome by disease or, mauled by the beast that, we were hunting for the family or whatever it happens to be, the way the wildness of the world, the underlying fact of it all is that, no, but this world is ours to control. It is ours to tend. And it's not this, this wild, fickle God. Like if I were a fisherman in the old days, I'd say, oh, Neptune is angry, and I might have to sacrifice to Neptune to keep him happy because I need to go out there and get fish, and I hope he's going to stay cool with me. It's like, no, this is your world. Like, go out and tend it. It is the garden, and we are the gardener, and that God has put in charge. So, because we bear his image. And so, Neptune's not in the sea, and I have to placate him. God is with me, and I get to go out into his work. That changes things dramatically. That's, again, one of the big insights behind the strength of what has happened in Western civilizations.